Okay, buckle up. Welcome to the deep dive.
Great to be diving in.
Today we're doing what we do best, taking a fascinating stack of source material and really pulling out the critical insights.
Yeah, the surprising facts, the key takeaways.
Exactly. All to help you get informed quickly and thoroughly. Our source today, it's a document called trendsartificialintelligence.pdf.
And it's a really valuable collection, pulls together data, research, benchmarks from all sorts of third parties.
Gives a pretty high-level view of the landscape, right?
It does. And, we're really thankful for the work that went into compiling something this comprehensive. It's not easy.
Absolutely. So our mission together today, your mission for joining us, is to understand why this change happening right now with AI, why it feels faster than anything we've seen before.
Because, and this is key from the source, it doesn't just feel fast, it is unprecedented.
Right.
Synthesizing data like this is just crucial right now. Lets us see past the anecdotes, see the patterns.
Understand what's driving it all.
Exactly. And grasp the so what, why this moment is, fundamentally different.
Okay, let's dive right in then. The core idea, right at the start. Seem like change happening faster than ever? Yes, it is. Bold claim.
Very bold. And the source backs it up immediately. It argues that it's this confluence, AI user growth plus usage growth plus that massive capital expenditure growth.
All hitting at once.
All hitting at once, creating a pace of change that just doesn't have a historical parallel.
And the comparisons they draw are pretty incredible. Thinking about knowledge distribution.
Yeah, the printing press, right. Around 1440, revolutionized things.
Took centuries, though, for widespread impact.
Yeah.
Then the internet. Be accessible around 93.
Decades for that. And then generative AI, you look at ChatGPT launching late 2022.
And it's years, months even, to reach a scale that just took forever before.
That comparison really hits you. Centuries, decades, months.
The source calls ChatGPT history's biggest overnight success. OpenAI was founded 9 years earlier, but the impact...
It felt incredibly sudden, and the user ramp-up for ChatGPT, perfect data point.
Fastest ever, right? For a standalone product.
1 million users. 5 days. Just 5 days.
5 days. That's wild. But the source explains why it's different even from the early internet days.
Exactly. It wasn't like Internet 1.0, which, mostly started in the US and then kind of diffused out over years.
Spread slowly.
Right. ChatGPT, these AI capabilities... They landed everywhere, all at once. Simultaneous rapid growth, most global regions, right from day one.
So not a wave starting somewhere, but like a global surge.
Precisely. The document calls AI a compounder on the existing internet infrastructure.
Because the pipes were already there.
The plumbing was there, globally distributed, which enabled this. Well, the source calls it wicked fast adoption.
Wicked fast adoption. Love it. Okay, so where do we see this speed playing out? Let's look at users first.
The consumer numbers are just... staggering. ChatGPT, for instance, weekly active users jumped 8-fold.
8 times.
Went from maybe 100 million to 800 million. In 17 months. October 22 to Sam Altman's disclosure, April 25.
Under a year and a half. That's, wow. Compare that to the internet taking, 23 years for 90% penetration, according to the source's chart?
And the source notes a leading U.S. LLM large language model, the tech behind these systems,
right,
took only 3 years to get 90% of its current total users outside North America, looking at mobile app users.
That's a huge compression of the timeline.
Dramatic. And it's not just how many users, it's how much they're using it. The ChatGPT app, daily time spent was up 202%.
200%.
Over 21 months in the U.S., July 23 to April 25, App Store, Google Play data.
That level of engagement suggests something fundamental is changing. And the source talks about this shift, right? From AI just chatting to AI...
doing work.
Yes. It describes this emerging class of AI that's less assistant, more service provider. These are AI agents.
Agents. Define that a bit more.
The document calls them intelligent, long-running processes. They can autonomously perform tasks across different systems. So not just asking for info, but telling it to do stuff across multiple steps.
Exactly. And the source says enterprises are really embracing this, deploying agents, investing in the frameworks.
The messaging interface becomes an action layer.
That's the term. You delegate complex tasks.
And public interest is tracking this. Google searches for AI agent exploded, up over 1,000%.
Yeah, 1,088% increase. 16 months, Jan 24 to May 25. Massive interest.
And the big tech companies are launching their versions.
Right. The source mentions OpenAI Operator, Salesforce Agentforce, Anthropic's Claude 3.5 using computer screens, Amazon Nova Act.
And they have real capabilities listed. Customer support automation, resolving cases, actually controlling the screens, scheduling.
It's clearly moving beyond just text. It signals a future where we interact differently with computers. More delegation.
Okay, but how is this speed, this complexity with agents even possible? It must be fueled by massive investment.
That's exactly what the source says, the underlying infrastructure. This is where CapEx, capital expenditure, comes in big time.
Big time numbers.
Huge. The source highlights a massive inflection among the big 6 U.S. tech firms. Apple, NVIDIA, Microsoft, Alphabet, Amazon AWS, Meta.
Right.
Combined CapEx hit $212 billion in 2024. That's up 63% year over year.
63% jump in 1 year. Across those giants. Wow.
And the source notes, yeah, CapEx flexes up over time, but the tilt now is clearly rapidly towards computation, intelligence infrastructure.
So specialized chips, GPUs, TPUs.
AI accelerators, liquid cooling, these frontier data centers, it's a specific kind of build-out.
The source quotes Brad Smith at Microsoft comparing these centers to the next stage of industrialization.
It's a powerful comparison, and data centers are definitely absorbing a huge chunk. U.S. spending on construction, historic highs, 49% accelerated annual growth over 2 years.
And the speed they build them. That XAI Colossus example is crazy, 122 days.
Less than half the time for a typical U.S. house, and then they doubled the GPUs in just another 92 days.
Jensen Huang called that superhuman.
It really highlights the urgency. This build-out is intense.
Superhuman speed for superhuman AI. Okay, so CapEx buys land, power, chips, cooling. OpEx is energy, maintenance. Revenue is selling compute.
And the source makes a critical point, getting this infra piece right. That will shape the geography of AI economics. Huge implications.
Which brings us right to energy. The source is blunt. There is no AI without energy, specifically electricity.
Crucial link. Data centers already used about 1.5% of global electricity in 2024.
Then growing fast.
12% annually since 2017. That's 4 times faster than total global electricity growth.
Why? Okay. And it's concentrated.
Very. U.S. leads with 45%, China 25%, Europe 15%. And within the U.S., nearly half the capacity is in just 5 areas.
And this demand is so intense, the source says progress is getting bottlenecked. Not by data or algorithms, but by the grid.
That's what it states. Increasingly bottlenecked by the grid and strains related to demand. It's fascinating.
Especially when you hear about efficiency gains. The source mentions a leading chip maker's GPU, 105,000 times less energy per token than a 2014 chip.
Phenomenal efficiency progress.
But still a bottleneck.
The source says these dramatic improvements have not been enough. And it brings up the Jevons paradox.
Jevons paradox. Remind me.
Okay, so the idea back from 1865 is that when tech makes a resource, like energy for computing, more efficient to use.
You'd think we'd use less overall.
Right. But paradoxically, overall consumption often increases because it gets cheaper, more accessible, so people find more ways to use it. Demand goes up.
Efficiency makes compute cheaper, so we use more compute, maybe even more energy overall.
Right.
That's powerful.
It is, and it ties into how AI tech is compounding. The source shows these rapid annual growth rates building on each other.
Like training compute, up 360% annually.
Right. Impact of algorithms, plus 200%, supercomputer performance, plus 150%, number of powerful models, plus 167%. It's all accelerating together.
But the cost to train the biggest models is also skyrocketing. 2,400 times growth in 8 years. Maybe $100 billion or $1 trillion someday.
That combination, falling unit costs, rising total costs due to scale, is part of what the source calls tech's perpetual AHA.
The perpetual AHA. Explain that.
It's this historical pattern. Costs decline, performance improves.
And boom, adoption and usage take off.
Exactly. Happened with electricity, computer memory. Costs fell, performance rose, usage exploded, enabling totally new things.
And the source says this is happening right now with AI.
Precisely. Training compute soaring, 360% annual rate, general IT costs falling, the AHA is repeating, costs per unit fall, performance rises, usage grows, all in tandem.
And a really interesting result of this, performance of top models is converging fast. Like on that LMSYS chatbot arena benchmark.
Incredibly rapidly, yeah. Between Jan 24 and Feb 25, That convergence plus falling inference costs running the trained models.
Means it's getting way cheaper for users and developers to get top-tier AI.
Dramatically cheaper. And the source says this happens via lower-cost API providers. It levels the playing field.
Weakens the pricing power of the big incumbent model providers.
Potentially. Because developers, users, they have more choice, similar performance, lower cost.
More foundation models from OpenAI, Meta, Mistral, Anthropic, Google, Microsoft.
Exactly. Flexibility based on performance, cost, need. It decentralizes access to that cutting-edge intelligence.
This convergence, the falling costs, must be huge for the builders, the developers.
Absolutely. The source kind of nods to Steve Ballmer. Developers. Because the platform with developer momentum often wins, right?
And devs are jumping in. 63% using AI tools in 2024, up from 44% the year before.
Significant jump. And the activity indicators. GitHub repos for AI dev, up 175% in 16 months.
And the processing volume is just
Wow.
mind-boggling. Google doing 480 trillion monthly tokens.
Up from 10 trillion a year prior. Microsoft Azure AI Foundry, 100 trillion quarterly tokens, 5x year-over-year increase. 70,000 plus enterprises using it.
It's not just experiments then.
Yeah.
It's deep integration.
Totally. And developers are using it for everything. Code generation, bug detection, testing, workflow, docs, refactoring, security, DevOps, UX, architecture.
Touching every part of the life cycle.
And a huge factor here is open source.
Right? I hear so much about open source models now. Llama 3, DeepSeek.
The source says their performance is rising incredibly quickly, closing the gap with the big closed models. And often, crucially, at a fraction of the cost.
So devs get similar performance without the big API fees.
Pretty much. The source says devs are gravitating to these low-cost, high-performance open models, building apps, agents, pipelines that used to need expensive closed APIs.
The shifts power. More flexibility for the community. Zuckerberg predicts open source will be the biggest model type devs use in 2025.
That's the quote. And the numbers back it up. Llama downloads over 1 billion by April 25. Around 100,000 derivative models built just off Llama by March 25.
Huge activity on the open source side. Okay, so AI is changing developer work,
Yeah.
but what about everyone else? The source calls this shift real plus rapid.
Yeah, it hits work in two ways. Physical automation, robots, drones, and cognitive automation. AI reasoning, creating, solving problems.
And that cognitive improvement pace is astounding. The source says in just 3 years since ChatGPT launch, AI reasoning went from high school level to
Around the level of some college graduates by Q2 2025. That's a massive leap.
driving corporate mandates. The source has those quotes.
Yeah, the Shopify memo from Tobias Lütke. March 25, basically saying you are not welcome to ignore AI. Stagnation is slow motion failure. Adapt or fall behind.
And Duolingo, April 25. CEO Luis von Ahn declaring them AI first, rethinking everything.
Mentioning specific impacts. AI in hiring, performance reviews, no new headcount unless automation is maxed out. AI lets them scale content creation way faster. Would take us decades without AI.
These aren't small tweaks, strategic shifts from the top, and the data shows broad adoption. Census Bureau data, 7% of U.S. firms using AI in Q1 25, up 21% quarter over quarter.
Yeah, it's happening. Employer goals are heavily focused on productivity, boosting internal productivity with co-pilots, saving labor in specialized roles like contact centers, improving customer-facing apps, lowering risk, faster product dev.
Like drug discovery or software, are they seeing the gains?
Studies cited in the source suggest yes. Examples like plus 14% productivity for customer support agents, scientists using AI.
And the overall employment picture. AI job postings up massively, 448% over 7 years.
While non-AI IT jobs actually dipped 9%.
That's so scary. Job displacement.
Well, the source provides important historical context. Charts showing U.S. labor productivity and employment have actually grown together, historically, over 77 years, through the PC, internet, mobile eras.
So tech-driven productivity hasn't historically meant fewer jobs overall, just different jobs.
That's the historical pattern. And this leads to that powerful Jensen Huang quote in the source.
Right, you won't lose your job to AI.
But to somebody who uses AI, he frames AI as a tool that changes how work gets done.
And maybe even closes the tech divide, increases GDP by letting more people participate effectively.
That's the argument presented via Huang. He calls AI the greatest opportunity for that, urging everyone to take advantage of AI.
So less about replacement, more about augmentation and shifting skills.
That's the potential outlined, enabling more people with powerful tools. But AI isn't just digital or office work. The source stresses its expansion into the physical world.
Moving beyond software, tangible stuff.
Exactly. Intelligence embedded in vehicles, machines, defense systems, the rise of physical agents.
Autonomous vehicles are the obvious one. Waymo in San Francisco.
Yeah, Zero share to 27% in just 20 months, according to the cited data. And the Uber CEO quote about autonomous drivers being better, trained on lifetimes of data, not distracted.
In Tesla's approach,
Yeah.
100x increase in cumulative, fully self-driven miles.
Between June 22 and March 25. And Musk quoted saying FSD version 12 is end-to-end artificial intelligence, replacing C++ with neural nets.
Calling Tesla maybe the most efficient AI inference company. And Dojo, their custom supercomputer.
Aiming for huge improvements in training cost, rethinking the whole stack.
It's not just AI in cars, it's rethinking how you build the AI in the cars.
Exactly. And the source points to others like Applied Intuition, simulation platforms, software for automotive, trucking, construction, defense.
Serving 18 top global auto OEMs by 2024, up from 0 in 2016.
Right. Their CEO quoted on bringing the best of Silicon Valley to these industries, seeing accelerating adoption, strong ROI.
And U.S. defense, Endural, AI-enabled autonomous systems.
Reportedly doubling revenue year over year for the last 2 years. Their CEO quoted on AI solving security challenges, keeping people safer, better decisions at modern warfare speed.
And that claim about AI potentially making warfare more proportional, more precise, and less indiscriminate. Profound.
Huge implications. Other physical examples in the source, mineral exploration, cobalt metals using AI.
Gramsci Prospector.
Right, using huge data sets, models to find prospects faster, more effectively. Charts show higher discoveries per dollar spent.
And agriculture. Carbon robotics laser weeder.
Using AI vision to ID and zap individual weeds with lasers, rapid growth in acres weeded. CEO quoted on solving labor issues, farmers wanting 247 operations.
So AI is literally zapping weeds, guiding cars, impacting defense, turning capital assets into software endpoints, making intelligence kinetic.
Exactly. Intelligence moving off the screen into the world.
Then the source pivots to this really big picture idea. The 2.6 billion people, 32% of the world, not online yet.
And the opportunity for them to come online is growing thanks to low-cost satellite internet, Starlink.
And here's the fascinating twist. The source suggests their first online experience probably won't be browsers and search bars.
It'll likely be AI, maybe in their native language. Imagine skipping decades of internet evolution.
Dial-up websites, search, social media.
And starting directly with an agent-driven interface, an AI agent managing tech platforms for them, understanding local context, intent.
Wow. The source says this agent-first internet experience could upend existing tech hierarchies, disintermediate platforms.
Because the agent becomes the main interface, not the apps underneath.
So the winners might own the interface, not the apps.
That's the idea. And AI compounds on this new connectivity. Starlink's role is huge here.
5 million plus subscribers by Feb 25. 202% annual growth, expanding globally.
Yeah. And the source highlights use cases. Remote communities, ships at sea, quotes from users about finally getting connected, treating vessels like remote offices.
So low-cost global connectivity plus AI agents could create a totally different internet on-ramp for billions, disrupting the old guard.
A potential future internet shaped heavily by AI agents. It's a compelling vision.
Okay, with all this growth, investment, expansion, where's the money? How's it being monetized? The economics are evolving quickly, the source says, driven by that heavy capital intensity.
Right. And it notes, for some, there's likely a long way to profitability.
Like historical tech giants.
Yeah.
Apple, Amazon, Google, Uber, Tesla. They burned cash early on.
Exactly. The source draws that parallel. They built valuable businesses eventually through product, network effects, tech advantage. Their market caps today reflect faith in future cash flows.
So maybe AI companies follow a similar long, capital-intensive path.
That's the comparison made. And while falling inference costs are great for users, it raises questions for model providers about sustainable monetization and profits.
So who is making money now, according to the source?
It looks at new entrants and incumbents. Some new AI-first companies show incredibly rapid revenue growth.
Like Anthropic, APIs, generative search, annualized revenue up 20x to $2 billion in 18 months.
Or Glean, enterprise search with agents, 10x revenue growth to $100 million annualized in 2 years.
And AI companies overall are ramping faster to $5 ARR than older SaaS companies. 35% faster.
Based on the 2024 versus 2018 data cited, yes, new ventures scaling revenue very quickly. But the incumbents have that user base advantage.
Meta's $3.4 billion plus freighter, Apple's devices, Google Search Android, Microsoft's Office.
They inject AI into products people already use daily.
Like Microsoft Copilot logging 15 billion chats. Meta AI reaching almost 1 billion monthly users. Google Gemini growing.
And the source estimates Microsoft's AI product revenue run rate around $13 billion in 2024, up 175% year over year. Significant money.
And the enterprise SaaS players, embedding AI too.
Absolutely. Microsoft GitHub Copilot, most adopted dev tool. 365 Copilot CIOs expect more use. Adobe Firefly, Atlassian Intelligence, Zoom AI Companion going fast, adding agents. Canva Magic Studio, Salesforce, Agentforce.
Adding AI value to products millions rely on.
Even specialized software firms becoming AI-enabled, growing fast in big industries. Software engineering, product dev, healthcare, legal, customer service, finance.
Can you give some examples the source mentions there?
Sure. Software engineering. AnySphere Cursor reported 1 LRM to $300 ARR in 25 months. Healthcare. Abridge, Medical Conversations, $50 to $117 of ARR in 5 months, used widely at Kaiser. Legal, Harvey, $10 to $70 ARR in 15 months, top law firms using it. Customer service, Decagon, $1 to $10 ARR in a year. Finance, AlphaSense, maybe $150 to $420 ARR in 2 years.
Those are staggering growth rates for specialized AI.
Shows AI driving revenue on multiple fronts. New pure plays, features in giant platforms, and vertical-specific solutions.
So the monetization picture, while complex, shows real revenue happening now.
Yes, models are evolving, but the source data shows AI is quickly becoming a major revenue driver.
The source also explicitly frames AI as a space race, specifically mentioning China.
This geopolitical angle is significant in the document. It quotes Meta's CTO Andrew Bosworth on this space race, calling China highly capable.
And it draws that parallel to the original space race, not just tech, but political systems, trust, deterrence, saying the AI race could reshape the world order.
The document notes China has dramatically accelerated its capabilities since its Made in China 2025 plan in 2015, especially in robotics, electrification, and AI.
And China's AI underpins strategic areas: battlefield logistics, target recognition, cyber ops, state media highlighting military hospital use.
Yes, and the Ministry of Science Tech commitment to indigenous innovation. The source also includes that Sam Altman op-ed quote about risks if authoritarian regimes lead AI data sharing, spying, cyber weapons.
And the U.S. response, focus on tech like chips as national interest. Senators Cornyn and Warner quoted.
Right. But it also notes American IP is still at risk, quoting OpenAI again, saying China-based firms constantly tried to distill the models of leading U.S. companies, stressing the need to work with government to protect models.
The source observes the U.S. tone on Chinese tech has morphed from earlier enthusiasm.
Definitely. And it gives specific examples of Chinese AI relevance. Alibaba's Qwen 2.5 Max Xian 25, surpassing GPT-4o and Claude 3.5 on some tests, and 100 open-source Qwen models released with performance in line with Western competitors.
Baidu's Ernie 4.5 Turbo, April 25. Multi-mobile, very cost-effective, like 0.2% the cost of GPT 4.5 per token.
And benchmarks showing it matches GPT 4.1, outperforms GPT 4.0 in some areas. Beyond software, the source notes China's lead in physical robots, higher installed base than rest of world and USA combined.
And that difference in public perception. 68% in China seeing more benefits than drawbacks in AI versus 39% in the U.S.
The source sees that as a deeper philosophical divide on adapting to tech, suggesting platform choice might increasingly link to national identity.
It's clear from the source this isn't just business, it's national strategy. Brad Smith quoted again. Race for influence likely won by the fastest first mover. U.S. needs an international strategy.
And just to be clear, we're reporting what the source material lays out here regarding this dynamic, not taking sides or endorsing any view.
Absolutely. The document clearly frames AI leadership as key to global influence. Okay, before we wrap, the source looks ahead. Next. Frontiers.
Mentions artificial general intelligence, AGI systems with full human intellectual range as a long-term goal.
But also lists more near-term frontiers being actively pursued now.
Right. Broad areas. Medical discovery, precision manufacturing, multi-purpose robotics, autonomous science, supply chain optimization, cybersecurity, personalized education, autonomous finance, climate monitoring, energy grid management.
And gives that specific example. Protein sequencing. Technical, but huge implications.
Huge. Remarkable progress, the source says. Large AI models improving prediction ability, accelerating research, reducing need for costly experiments. Model size going 290% annually. AI tools like AlphaFold expanding coverage 1000x via synthetic data.
Concrete example of AI accelerating core science, not just software.
Exactly, highlighting potential breakthroughs far beyond IT.
Wow. We covered a ton. This deep dive really hammers home the speed, the scale of AI's acceleration. It's everywhere.
Yeah, the key takeaways are clear. That unprecedented user and usage growth, fueled by absolutely massive infrastructure investment building compute power.
Falling inference costs, igniting developer momentum, driving adoption across industries, changing work itself.
We saw AI moving fast into the physical world, embedding intelligence everywhere.
Yeah.
And that potential for an AI-first internet experience for billions may be reshaping tech hierarchies.
The economics are complex, evolving, but monetization is happening. New players, incumbents, specialized software.
And all under this clear, high-stakes geopolitical competition shaping the future.
So for you, the listener, this matters because, as the source notes, AI is reshaping everything at breakneck speed, becoming core infrastructure, touching more domains, embedding in how work gets done.
The source makes that powerful comparison. Imagining a world without AI soon will be like trying to imagine a world without the internet now. Likely impossible.
And based purely on this source material, here's a final thought for you to chew on.
The source highlights how tech efficiency gains like in AI hardware can lead to more overall usage, that Jevons paradox.
Right. And it also says the geopolitical race for AI influence will likely be won by the fastest first mover.
So, given AI's unprecedented growth speed, its soaring demand on resources like energy, and this race to be fastest, how does that tension play out between accelerating efficiency, accelerating usage, and the drive to be fastest?
Is the bottleneck really shifting, like the source suggests, from data and algorithms to fundamental resources, energy, infrastructure?
It's a critical question to ponder as this transformation keeps unfolding.
Definitely something to keep watching and learning about. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive.